sustained hilarity. However, on this occasion, I was amazed at the number of stories that I considered sharing with you today, only to find myself saying, nope, not even for the silver wedding party in 2034. So amongst the stories I've decided against sharing with you today are stories such as the one relating to the pair of shoes Helen spent so long covetously stalking. Over a 2-month period, she was actually invited by the shoe shop staff to their Christmas party. The lost night in South Kensington that Helen enjoyed, well, I say enjoyed, is probably one she'd also really rather forget. In much the same way as Helen actually forgot not only where she lived on that fateful December evening, on the way back from the shoe shop Christmas party, but also the location of her house keys and, most memorably, the whereabouts of Mike. As local legend has it, that although she failed to wake Mike up that evening, Helen did in fact manage to wake up everybody else in the street, due in no small part to the fact that Mike was actually 157 miles away in Nottingham at the time of being berated by his animated and fortified girlfriend. Helen had ultimately to be rescued by her landlord, Mr. Pearman, who, like a property developer in shining armour, let Helen in with his spare set of keys and promptly raised their rent by £150 a month. And no matter how much you badger me, wild horses could not drag from me the story I was told in strict confidence by one of Helen's closest friends, involving the hair removal cream. And the surprise 45-minute visit of her then landlord for an inspection of the property, I hasten to add. The result of which was, I understand from my very indiscreet wife, the application of industrial quantities of soothing cream over the next fortnight. However, I can't share any of those with you today, I'm afraid. The one story I can share is the little-known secret that Helen and Mike have actually, or were actually engaged to each other for 4 years, and not just the 18 months that is generally thought to be the case. The reason for the delay in formally declaring their betrothal is, I can now reveal, due to their collective indecision and procrastination. In fact, it actually took the first 2.5 years to decide on which engagement ring to choose and whether or not to place the announcement in The Guardian or The Observer. However, to those of an indecisive nature, even the smallest of decisions can become a problem. I mean, as Mike memorably put it, Helen, she's the only person I know who can spend 10 minutes each morning debating which plain white t-shirt to wear today. You can only imagine what sort of difficulties arise, therefore, for those of an indecisive nature when it comes to sorting out the logistics of actually getting married. When should we get married? Where should we get married? What time should we get married? Should we get married? And then there's a question of the presents. Well, what should we put on the wedding list? Wedgwood or Royal Dalton? John Lewis or Peter Jones? The 4 or the 6 sliced toast rack? I mean, it's problems. The marriage service itself, of course, presents unique problems of its own. I mean, what hymn should we sing? How many bridesmaids should I have? Where should everybody sit? Do you take this man to be your lawful wedded husband? I had a Townsend are still being in church tomorrow morning. Of course, the wedding breakfast itself provides a proverbial minefield to the indecisive. It's what colour table linen should we have? What flavour of minestrone soup should we choose? Roast chicken or the roast turkey? Chardonnay or Blue Nun? Anyway, married life itself will no doubt present its own difficulties to those of an indecisive nature. I mean, you can only imagine how long it would take them to actually choose names for any children should he be blessed. However, the one big decision Helen has wisely made is the one that's brought us here today, when she accepted Mike's proposal of marriage. An ever thoughtful man, Mike ploughs his own particular furrow at the BBC, where, as many of you may actually be aware, he invented the BBC iPlayer single-handedly. Just in case you're not as technically savvy as Mike would wish you all to be, this is a facility where you can watch and listen to BBC programmes when you want on your television or computer. And the eagle-eyed amongst you today might have noticed television cameras which have been cunningly disguised as table decorations and waitresses. And you'll be delighted to note that even if you get as shoe-shocked as the bride has been prone to occasionally get, as a result of the extensive hospitality with which we've kindly endowed today, should you have missed anything, you will be delighted to know the wedding will be available for your retrospective viewing pleasure when you get home, via the red button. But only for the next 7 days. You'll be delighted to note that I'm almost finished, but before I go, I just want to say that although I occasionally make unwelcome remarks about the age and condition of most of Helen's coats she's owned over the past 16 years, she does indeed look absolutely adorable here today. And Mike, in the 5th outfit that he auditioned for the occasion, scrubs up very well, I'm sure you'll agree. Yes. I'd finally like to say that if married life proves to be half as much fun for Helen and Mike as sharing these stories with you has been for me today, you'll have a ball. I'll have to save the rest of the stories, I'm afraid, for the silver wedding party, if, of course, I'm still invited. Congratulations to you both. Having put my money on Mike some time ago, as you know, I know your marriage will be a long and happy one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.